Born to danger, I'm doomed for death and failure. Born a stranger, I never have a clue. Find the meaning I'm trying to remember. If only I could see the past or find a reason to. Trip and stumble, I didn't see that good face. Run and grumble, I forgot to eat my food. Neglect the debuff, I think I got it handled. So I bungle in the jungle to be born anew.
All Vera travelers, please prepare for transit. Initiating sequence now.
So there we were. Michael and his cronies demanded we rock, paper, scissors for the right to Grandma's recipe, which I'd foolishly brought with me. I played paper, and Michael drew out his sword. I had no choice but to capitulate to his mocking demands. I had bakers to protect, but Michael wasn't done having fun. He had his eyes set on Celtic Shield, who'd previously spoken some choice words to the degenerate. Thankfully, our bacon lawyer, Sheepdog, told him to walk away before the situation escalated. So with a heavy heart, we gathered together and prepared to leave. And that's when Valinar, an aspiring baking apprentice, let out a very untimely fart. I knew I shouldn't have cooked that Minotaur macaroni. Elves are almost always lactose intolerant. As we reached the road, I couldn't help but feel that I'd somehow failed my brothers. I had the recipe memorized, but now Michael had an equal opportunity to capitalize on Grandma's sauce. On the way to Miraleth, the Fellowship decided it was time to start over in Winstead. I wasn't crazy about the town, but I respected their vote. So I renounced my citizenship and prepared to move shop. While gathering Grandma's belongings, I found some old love letters from Grandpa. Their correspondences revealed that Grandpa had in fact developed his own secret pizza sauce recipe, which he'd sworn to take with him to the grave. Memories of Grandpa began to resurface. I recalled lifting his chair to search for copper pieces that had fallen out of his pocket, or the time he carelessly tripped over a freshly cut stump and accidentally embedded the axe into Grandma's pizza pies cooling on the windowsill. He'd always been a stubborn one, but he'd always believed in my dreams. Come nightfall, I spotted a familiar acquaintance eating a bear alongside the road. It was Guts, the great sword-obsessed warrior. I thought it only right to say hi. As I neared, Guts suddenly swallowed the bear whole, and then the epiphany hit me. He'd been aptly named, not for his greatsword, but for his digestive system, which rivaled that of Tumok the Wretched himself. I next noticed that Guts' appearance had changed since we last met. He now sported a wolf helm and fur pauldrons and represented a guild of florists called the Red Lotus. I'd never heard of them, but I jotted their name down so I could order a bouquet for Mother's grave on Mother's Day. It was at this point that our conversation began to sour. Against my better judgment, I inquired about Guts' missing greatsword, to which he first responded by lashing out at me. He then stated that bugs had taken his sword. It was a sorry excuse, but I didn't want to further injure his pride. I knew he lost it in a duel. The next morning, I approached the Ancestor Stone. I had no expectations of divine intervention. I simply wanted to reflect on my recent setback and think of a way to find Grandpa's grave and his lost recipe, my final hope. So you can imagine my surprise when suddenly the ground began to tremble below me and an old quavering voice echoed from beyond the grave.
Butchie boys, that's you! Give me back my copper, you pilfering little shit! Well, knead my ass and call me doughy! You actually had it! Alright, I'll tell you what you want to hear, but if you want my blessing, you have to complete 2 tasks. First, free my spirit in the halls of adjudication. Second, confront this Michael fella. Win or lose, it doesn't matter. What matters is not turning into a limp garlic nut. So grow some crust, kid. Now go and free this ugly spirit of mine. I smell like rotting cheese.
I could hardly believe it. Grandpa had spoken to me and had given me an opportunity to redeem myself. With the help of my Baker brothers, we located a rear entrance into the Hall of Judication. After a short swim, we passed under a waterfall and then entered an eerie cavern where several skeletons paced the jagged trail. We promptly dealt with the hunting figures and then pressed deeper into the cave. When we reached the ruins, we spotted more skeletons and some spooky apparitions guarding the hall. Toward the back, I could see Grandpa's stinky spirit lurking in the darkness. Notching my arrows, we pressed our attack against the ravenous undead. My baking brothers, Chafedog, Razor, Litz, Electric Croc, and Crazedly made quick work of the threats. We next gathered together and approached Grandfather, who indeed smelled of rotting Parmesan. We then valiantly charged toward his putrid spirit, thinking our victory assured. But I'd foolishly underestimated Grandpa's spoiled state. We'd not accounted for his sauce explosion, which engulfed us like a sticky fog. Poor Litz took the brunt of the rotting basil tomato sauce topped with moldy Parmesan. It overwhelmed and hindered him until finally he imploded into mush. I cried out in disbelief. I'd failed him. Again. I hadn't known Litz for very long, but I'd always admired his baking work. Surprisingly, I found that Litz could still speak from the pile of mush lying on the ground. He had no mouth or orifice from which to speak, but his spirit existed there like a pile of rotting spaghetti. While we waited for the cleric to resurrect him, I collected Grandpa's recipe, which had been stored in a chest at the back of the chamber. The next morning, after resurrecting Litz, we cleansed Grandpa's spirit, and I said my final farewells to the old curmudgeon. Having acquired the secret sauce, which to my surprise included magical myconids I once thought poisonous, we made haste for Winstead to start anew. But when we arrived at its mud-rusted gates, we found the town besieged by an unhinged demon, whose steps shook the very ground as it unleashed havoc and chaos upon the denizens. I cried out to the wicked monster, hoping I might appease its appetite with a slice of pizza. So I knelt before the angered spirit, hoping to plead for mercy. I knew Winstead was filled with meta-chads and Peking punks, but did they really deserve such an excruciating death by lightning? Probably. After it passed me by and spared me death, it eviscerated a few more alpha gamers who'd been exploiting a gold bug. I was beginning to question my alignment. Perhaps the Chads had manifested their own destruction? Had their greed conjured a monster that resembled their own inner turmoil, reflecting excessive self-importance and a profound lack of meaningful purpose? Perhaps this demon, born from their acquisitive desires, mirrored their own fears and embodied the very emptiness they felt despite their pointless ambitions to exploit and profit at the expense of their own community's health and well-being? Whatever the reason, the outcome loomed dark and ominous, like a storm approaching from the horizon at dusk. So I resolved that my survival hinged on the demon's destruction. At least Chads could appreciate a slice of pizza. As the demon fell to its knobby knees, I couldn't help but wonder if the primitive folk of Winstead had learned their lesson. After the great battle, I decided it was time for all of us to have a much-needed vacation on the coast. Onions, glazed translucent, dashed with salt, and ground pepper, add some parsley, stewed tomatoes, what a winner. Fry some pork and ground beef tossed in a pan with some heat. Smells like home. Kick up your feet and have a glass of wine. So what's the rush, kid? What's the hurry? You've got FOMO, you are worried. Try to let go, it's not worthy of your time. Try to smile for a while and have a little fun in the sun. try to smile for a while and have a little fun in the sun. After vacation, I met some nice folks at the cathedral. When I offered apprenticeships, they jumped at the opportunity and followed me north to meet one of our caravans. Along the way, we spotted Firebrand, the devouring flame, whose presence enthralled Songbird, one of the aspiring young bakers. I'd warned them all to proceed with caution, but Firebrand's awesomeness was too much for Songbird to resist. Without warning, Songbird charged toward Firebrand, thinking the dragon might accept his gift of pizza pies. He was sorely mistaken. Apparently, Firebrand had a deep dish preference and despised any and all thin crust, which was our crowning achievement. Songbird's battle, I hesitate to call it as such, didn't last long. The poor fella quickly discovered that he was just an added topping for Firebrand's pizza pie. The leader, Battlelord, then informed me that he had to depart, so we said farewell and I traveled north to meet our caravan. I found the fellowship traveling along the road with a wagon full of hot pizza pies. They were en route to one of our loyal customers and were eager for some respite in town. Thankfully, our journey proceeded smoothly. We reached our destination unnoticed and unloaded our product as promised. After the delivery, Chef Dog Razor and I went to hone our battle skills due to the increase in recent robberies along the road. That's when I spotted the Ronin elite transporting some well-crafted blades downriver. I swam over to say hello and passed along my well wishes to Indigo, who'd previously helped me in Winstead. I then returned to the others to practice our battle skills until dusk. But the evening's tone quickly changed. As night fell upon us, I spotted a familiar name in chat. It was Michael. Though his grammar and spelling had often vexed me, I understood from his declaration that we were still at war. Thankfully, a few of our loyal customers came to our defense and even inquired about Grandma. I informed them of her passing and that I let them know that we'd recovered her pizza sauce recipe. As I refocused on my training, I could hear Grandpa's request echoing in the back of my mind.
If you want my blessing, confront this Michael fella. Win or lose, it doesn't matter. What matters is not turning into a limp garlic nut. I smell like rotting cheese.
I knew what had to be done. I had to find Michael and face him once and for all. Live or die.